A letter to my soon-to-be ex-husband. On Reddit, in a confession subreddit, a woman posted something that went viral. It was a letter. Not to her friends, not to her family, but directly to her soon-to-be ex-husband. A raw, honest letter about betrayal, hidden infidelity, lost agency, and what it means when the person you trust most makes decisions that change your life without ever asking your permission. This is her story.
The night you told me you didn't know if you were still in love with me, you said something that was meant to comfort me. You said, "You're going to be happier without me." In that moment, all I could see was an empty future. A future without my best friend, without my partner, without my husband. I walked out of that door with 2 suitcases of clothing, 2 dogs, and nothing else to my name. But time went on. When I was hospitalized, you didn't reach out. You didn't call. You'd contact my family. Instead, you used my location. A location I had shared with you months earlier as part of my safety plan during one of the most vulnerable points in my recovery. You never asked how I was. You never asked what happened. You never asked if I was safe. What you didn't know was that I had been transported by ambulance without my belongings to a medical center over an hour and a half away from my parents, my family, and every single person who would have wanted to be by my side. I arrived there alone. The staff had to monitor my nutrition because my sodium levels had dropped so dangerously low from not eating that I was at risk of seizures, organ failure, and coma. While I sat in a psychiatric hospital, frightened, isolated, and far from home, you never once reached out to ask if I was okay. And then the following week, you told me something that shattered what was left of my world. During an emotional phone call, you disclosed that in our very first year of marriage, after an argument where we didn't speak for a single night, you went to a bowling alley, got drunk, and slept with someone else. You made the decision to hide that from me for nearly a decade. Not for my benefit, for your comfort. In the months leading up to our separation, you distanced yourself more and more. You devoted your attention to a mobile game. I understood. I supported you. I was busy with graduate school, and I didn't want you to feel lonely. But during that time, you began flirting with someone you met through that game. And while you eventually stopped and sought therapy, you started confiding in people online and a friend you met for drinks about our marriage. About problems you never once discussed with me. At some point, you decided you were no longer in love with me. You began grieving our marriage in secret while letting me believe everything was okay. You came home before my classes just so I could see you. We texted, we talked, we ate Rocky Road ice cream in bed. We talked about our future together. We loved our dogs. All the while, you were quietly mourning the end of our marriage and allowing me to keep living inside a reality that no longer existed. You made the decision not to fix our marriage. You made the decision not to talk to me about your concerns. You made the decision to hide your infidelity. You made the decision to use my location instead of simply asking if I was okay. You made the decision to take away nearly a decade of my ability to choose for myself. You made the decision to end our marriage. And at every single step, you made those decisions alone. Throughout our marriage, despite the times I raised my voice and begged for affection, for touch, for connection, I never truly had a voice. Our marriage was not a partnership. A partnership requires honesty. It requires transparency. It requires 2 people making decisions together. What we had was a marriage built on secrets you protected because telling the truth would have required courage you didn't have. When you hid your infidelity, you took away my ability to decide whether I even wanted to stay in that marriage. When you grieved our relationship in secret while letting me plan a future with you, you stole my ability to make informed choices about my own life. When you decided our marriage was over without ever once inviting me into that conversation, you took away my ability to fight for it, to leave it, or to redefine it on my own terms. You did not simply withhold information. You removed my autonomy. You made choices that were never yours to make alone. I am not writing this as someone who believes she was a perfect wife. I wasn't. There were times I raised my voice when I should have spoken more calmly. There were moments I was impatient, reactive, and difficult to reach. There were times I made our home feel heavier than it needed to be. I own those things. I regret those things. But despite my flaws, I was loyal. I was committed. I was honest. I showed up. I never stopped choosing you. No mistake I made justified being denied the truth. No imperfection I carried justified losing my agency. No fault of mine justified having the most important decisions of my life made without my knowledge. I have endured many painful moments in my life. For a long time, I believed you were my redemption from those experiences. Instead, you became the final lesson I needed to learn. A.